Will more Haitians head for America now that the policy has changed? A notorious killer of young boys heads for death 14 years later, maybe. And the government bonus, millions going for exceptional performances. Surprise?
This is NBC Nightly News with Tom Brokaw.
Good evening. After months of trying to ignore Haiti, the Clinton administration suddenly has taken an active interest in the tiny, impoverished nation in the Caribbean. Tonight, there's even talk of several countries putting a joint military force in Haiti to take control of that country. And as NBC's Andrea Mitchell tells us now, that possibility was raised today by no less than the Secretary of State.
In Mexico, Secretary Christopher said that the U.S. is trying to get other countries to send a UN peacekeeping force to Haiti once the military leaders have left.
What the United States is now doing is consulting with countries in the hemisphere at the United Nations to determine whether or not that force can be strengthened.
The advance party of a UN force tried to land on Haiti last fall and turned back to avoid an angry mob on the dock. NBC News has learned that the U.S. wants the new force to be better armed and have a much broader mission. The administration has also started cracking down on the military leaders and their families. A new presidential order freezes their assets, bars their entry into the United States, and stops all non-scheduled airline flights between the U.S. and Haiti. In Ottawa, UN Ambassador Madeleine Albright asked candidates today to take some of the Haitian refugees. They said they'd study it. NBC News has learned as well that Jamaica and Barbados will also be asked. And with the Coast Guard unable to screen large numbers of refugees at sea, the Pentagon is considering using the Navy or renting commercial vessels. Still, Florida is afraid of being overwhelmed by the kind of mass exodus Mr. Clinton had promised to prevent.
You know, anytime someone gets a chance maybe to get asylum in the United States, it's got to be an awful strong inducement to come.
We had a long talk about it. He just wants to make sure we don't start it until we have the capacity to implement it.
None of these new policies are ready to go. But the White House hopes that by appointing former Democratic Congressman Bill Gray this weekend to take on the Haiti problem, the president has bought himself some time. Andrea Mitchell, NBC News at the White House.
At the same time, the Clinton administration's new policy for dealing with Haitian refugees could touch off a mass new migration to this country, and American officials today were doing all they could to head off that possibility. NBC's David Bloom is in Haiti tonight.
Today, in a highly unusual move, United States Ambassador William Swing taped an appeal for Haitian television, imploring would-be refugees not to take to the seas, explaining that the vast majority of Haitians will not qualify for political asylum and will still be sent back to Haiti. President Clinton said the change in refugee policy was prompted by reports of growing political violence here in Haiti. But many here predict that by allowing some boat people political asylum, thousands of others will inevitably be encouraged to try.
You are going to have, you know, basically an opening of the gates and some sort of a flood.
Meanwhile, on the political fronts, the United States rejected Army General Raul Cedrus's call for a new dialogue to solve Haiti's political crisis.
We don't need new ideas about dialogue or national conferences or other things. We need to do what we said we would do, and so he should retire.
But in parliaments, hardline, pro-military politicians boasted that drastic trade sanctions alone will not force the coup leaders from power.
They will not leave. They will not leave.
But 20 miles south of Port-au-Prince, the boat builders of Léogâne are hoping that many other Haitians will leave. Times have been tough.
When Clinton decided that don't let the refugees come into America, the people slowed down on making boats.
But the boat builders are worried that trade sanctions already imposed have made everything, including wood, so expensive that most people can no longer afford to buy boats. It would seem that even if some Haitians want to escape, the price tag for a slim chance at freedom has gone up. David Bloom, NBC News, Léogâne, Haiti.
When we come back, 11th hour appeals as execution time nears for John Wayne Gacy. Also tonight, DNA evidence, the newest high-tech weapon in the war against crime. And in West Texas, the new gun law, authorities are proving to be defiant in some cases.
Hold that plane! Last call, Flight 17. This'll work. Call Mike.
Everyone should now be on board, miss.
Coming!
Call Lois. Call accountant.
Call Sprint for the voice-activated phone card, the easiest calling card in the business.
Now that everyone is here.
Ford and Lincoln Mercury dealers have a system for repairs. The focal point is the service advisor. He's the primary customer contact in diagnosing problems and allocating all the resources to get the job done in the quickest, most economical way.
We'll get this car on the road.
He can help save you time, he can help save you money, and you can only find him at a Ford or Lincoln Mercury dealer. Quality care, where the quality continues.
Get this. You'd have to eat 7 slices of whole wheat toast to equal the fiber in just 1 bowl of Kellogg's All-Bran Extra Fiber. Kellogg's All-Bran, first on fiber.
Ever wonder what kind of mind would combine so many outrageous ingredients with frozen yogurt? So do we. Introducing Yogurt Gone Crazy, a new line of hard scoop yogurt from Baskin-Robbins, where wonders never cease.
One of this country's most infamous serial killers is in an Illinois prison tonight, and he is due to be executed 1 minute after midnight. John Wayne Gacy. As NBC's John Fratangelo tells us, this moment has been a long time coming for Gacy.
For 14 years, serial killer John Wayne Gacy has been living on appeals. Illinois' Attorney General set up this legal war room to handle today's 2 final appeals filed by Gacy's lawyers.
He won't beg for his life.
You can exhaust all the legal remedies possible, but no clemency pleas.
Right.
The scene in 1978 was gruesome. Body after body found buried beneath Gacy's suburban Chicago home. All young men aged 14 to 21. In the end, Gacy, a successful businessman who often dressed as a clown to entertain children, would be convicted of 33 deaths. In a telephone interview last week, Gacy claims he did not receive a fair trial.
For 14 years, I've been fighting the same battle. All I want is the truth to be learned, that I did not commit all the crimes.
There were rallies today by those who favor capital punishment.
John Wayne Gacy, it's time for you to die!
And those who don't.
We're not civilized. We're a violent, terrible country that does not respect life, and so we set a bad example.
Earlier today, a helicopter transferred Gacy to Stateville Prison. There, at 1 minute after midnight, 28 witnesses will watch as a lethal injection cuts off his breathing and stops his heart. Gacy's lawyers argue the process is cruel and unusual punishment. The families of Gacy's victims call it justice.
Talk about inhumane. Did Gacy think of anything being humane when he tortured and killed our boys? No.
Since 1980, the state has spent $164,000 on Gacy's incarceration. More than 40 judges have heard his many appeals. He hasn't been successful yet. If he fails again, he'll be the second inmate executed since Illinois reinstated the death penalty 17 years ago. Dawn Fratangelo, NBC News, Joliet, Illinois.
Back in Washington tonight, here's something that might surprise you. Hundreds of millions of your tax dollars going each year to bonuses for government workers. As NBC's Lisa Myers tells us tonight, what was supposed to be a reward system now simply has gotten out of control.
A lot of government programs may be facing cutbacks these days, but cash bonuses for the bureaucrats who run them keep going up. In 1992, 37% of all federal workers received bonuses averaging $724 for outstanding performance. The cost, $715 million, up 10% from the previous year. The number of workers receiving bonuses varied greatly among agencies, from only 3.5% at the Library of Congress to more than 76% at the U.S. Information Agency.
The taxpayers are mad about it, and they ought to be mad about it, and we ought to do something about it.
Federal employee unions claim taxpayers are getting their money's worth.
The people that I represent, I think that they're doing a good job, and basically the issue about the bonuses was overdrawn.
Among major agencies, the Department of Health and Human Services must have the best workers. 86,000 of them, 71%, received bonuses, compared with 16% at the Justice Department. Critics call the HHS bonuses ridiculous.
When the agency is losing billions of dollars in the Medicare and Medicaid programs alone, you have to question the quality of the workforce and whether it justifies such high bonuses in the program.
Last year, HHS told Congress it needed $120 million more to pay claims to the disabled, then doled out 1/4 of that amount in bonuses to its workers, even though those workers were running a year behind in processing disability claims.
We gave them the money, and wham, $32 million went out the back door to bonuses. And I think the Congress felt like we'd sort of been hoodwinked.
Senator Pryor complains that cash bonuses are being handed out like candy. But in this case, it's the taxpayers who are getting the toothache. Lisa Myers, NBC News, the Capitol.
There's also word tonight that White House staffers are looking into ways that the Clintons might be able to pay personal legal bills brought on by Whitewater and now the Paula Jones sexual harassment suit. Advisors say the Clintons have not asked for a fund, but if they do, the identities of the contributors would be kept secret from the first couple to avoid potential conflict of interest. In Houston today, 2 anti-abortion groups, Operation Rescue and Rescue America, and their leaders were ordered to pay more than $1 million in punitive damages to Planned Parenthood of Southeast Texas. The groups were found guilty of conspiring to disrupt Houston area abortion clinics during the 1992 Republican convention. The anti-abortion leaders said they will appeal. Near Tucson, Arizona tonight, wildfires still are burning out of control at the Saguaro National Monument, the national park that's the home to the giant saguaro cactus that is a symbol of the American West. More than 1,200 acres have burned already. Authorities say it was started by a truck engine that caught fire. When we come back, a first look at North Korea's newest military threat.
Value.
Value.
Value. Everyone's shouting value these days, but where do you look to sort it all out?
Yeah, where?
Right here. The complete car cost guide by IntelliChoice, an independent research company.
Oh, IntelliChoice.
After calculating the 5-year cost of ownership, IntelliChoice named Buick LeSabre Custom the best overall large car value.
Value.
See your dealer today about value-priced Buicks and IntelliChoice.
Time to wash up.
Isn't it just like Delta to design a stylish faucet that's practical too? So it's long enough to reach today's double and even triple sinks. Delta, the way water is brought to life.
Need a towel?
You know what really gets under my skin?
Your boss?
No, my athlete's foot. So I use Mycotin. Mycotin penetrates just below the surface to kill athlete's foot where it grows. Mycotin, a cure that gets in.
I knew something must be wrong. I was getting these sharp pains, and sometimes pressure and bloating. I'm glad I asked my doctor. He said it was gas, and recommended Mylanta Gas.
Mylanta Gas. It has the best medicine for gas.
We've told you a lot about North Korea's nuclear program and efforts to determine if that country is making nuclear weapons. Well, it turns out the threat is not just nuclear. North Korea's conventional military buildup is a real concern as well. NBC's Ed Rabel is at the Pentagon again tonight.
Pentagon officials are becoming increasingly concerned about the North's conventional weapons arsenal, particularly its missile program. Here's why. NBC News has obtained exclusive photos taken by Russian spy satellites of Taepodong, North Korea's Cape Canaveral, its super-secret missile test facility located on the country's northeast coast. Areas shown in minute detail, 3 missile launch sites, platforms scorched by the fiery blastoff when 3 of the North's new Nodong missiles were tested a year ago, a rocket test stand, missile assembly and maintenance buildings, docks for missile tracking ships. The Nodong missiles are upgrades of these Scuds produced by North Korea. The officials also tell NBC News that new longer-range missiles under development are being built specifically to threaten U.S. bases on Okinawa and Guam with nuclear warheads. They could also strike anywhere in Japan as well as large sections of Russia and China.
Right now, the North Korean missile program is the largest sort of offshore weapon manufacturing program in the world, and I don't see any reason why it will slow down.
U.S. officials also tell NBC News they've discovered newly deployed long-range 170mm artillery and 240mm rocket launchers near the DMZ, capable of striking the capital of South Korea with conventional, and possibly chemical and biological warheads.
This is not exactly a government that operates on the rational actor model.
Meanwhile, Pentagon officials believe North Korea is not about to start a war, but an accident or miscalculation, they fear, could set one off. Ed Rabel, NBC News, the Pentagon.
In South Africa today, the process of democracy took still another major step. Hundreds of newly elected blacks took their place in Parliament and chose a president. In Johannesburg tonight, here's NBC's Keith Miller.
White domination of South Africa ended today in the city where it started more than 3 centuries ago. Parliament building in Cape Town has never entertained anything like this before. A Xhosa tribal dance to the spirit. No black man has ever been represented in Parliament, but today hundreds were sworn in to represent the nation. Their first act was to nominate Nelson Mandela as president. He won, unopposed and overwhelmingly. Outside Parliament, tens of thousands of people joined in the celebration. The Archbishop of Cape Town, Desmond Tutu, said South Africa's transition to democracy sent a message to the world.
What have we said to racism? What have we said to injustice? What have we said to oppression?
President-elect Mandela warned that the road from apartheid to freedom would be difficult, but was now irreversible.
The people of South Africa have spoken in this election. They want change, and change is what they will get.
To help pay for change, Vice President Al Gore brought a promise of economic aid. The vice president, heading a U.S. delegation that included First Lady Hillary Clinton, talked of a new partnership with South Africa.
That has the potential not only to benefit our two peoples, but also to export the lessons of democracy, harmony, and brotherhood to other parts of Africa.
Presidents, prime ministers, and kings are arriving in South Africa tonight to attend tomorrow's inauguration. More than 40 countries will be represented when Mandela is sworn in, making his inauguration seem more like a coronation. Keith Miller, NBC News, Johannesburg.
But in Central Africa, more Rwandans crowded into refugee camps on the Tanzania border as heavy fighting between rebel and government troops enters a 5th week. Rebels launched an offensive today on Rwanda's capital. When Nightly News continues, DNA detectives, when the genetic code works and doesn't work.
The human body is brilliantly designed. Your spine protects your spinal cord. Your ribs and pelvis protect your vital organs. But what protects your bones? New Tums 500 calcium supplement helps protect your bones from osteoporosis. 2 Tums 500 give you 1,000 milligrams of very absorbable bone-building calcium. The human brain is brilliantly designed. Use it. Try New Tums 500 calcium supplement.
They created their microprocessor in 1971. And the faster their chips have performed, the faster their company has grown. Today, the Intel design is the brains behind 2/3 of the world's PCs. By the 21st century, Intel expects their chips to execute 2 billion instructions in 1 second. Where do you find such fast-thinking companies? Actually, there's a list of them printed every day. NASDAQ, the stock market for the next 100 years.
One shot. That's all it takes for weeds. Roundup.
Ow! I'm a night owl. I come alive when the sun goes down.
In the morning out here, it's just, everything is so peaceful.
Hey, life is a roller coaster.
You know, you can breathe here.
I love this city.
It's an open house. I have no secrets.
You have to have a sanctuary. This is all mine.
Sisters may be different, but from a simple ottoman to the new Country Crossings collection, everyone's at home with Ethan Allen. Come in and see what's on sale.
It's all under your nose.
You work hard, play hard, aim high.
Get this. You'd have to eat 5 large shredded wheat biscuits to equal the fiber in just 1 bowl of Kellogg's All-Bran Extra Fiber. Kellogg's All-Bran, first on fiber.
She says she was fired for being pregnant. They say they were suspended for the same reason. Could it happen to you? Don't miss Jane Pauley and Stone Phillips, Dateline NBC, Tuesday.
Fighting crime the high-tech way. Our insiders report tonight what's going on with DNA, the individual genetic code that we all carry. Using DNA as a form of identification has cleared some suspects, but it is also prompting other suspects to plead guilty when in the past they might have fought the charges against them. Nonetheless, DNA does remain controversial. NBC News national correspondent Bob Kerr.
In Virginia, Timothy Spencer was called the South Side Strangler. 2 weeks ago, he became the first defendant ever executed on the basis of DNA evidence. The defense raised questions about the evidence, but the state argued that there was only one chance out of 700 million that DNA found at a rape murder scene was not Spencer's. DNA evidence is the high-tech tactic in the multi-billion-dollar war against crime. DNA makes one person different from another, gives a unique genetic code to everyone except identical twins. When fingerprints can't nail a criminal, DNA often can.
DNA evidence has the potential to transform in a very positive way the way we do business in the criminal justice system.
DNA is in our blood, skin, hair, and saliva, every cell in us. Since 1987, DNA evidence has helped put hundreds of violent criminals behind bars. But for other accused and convicted criminals, genetic evidence has meant freedom. After 9 years in jail, 2 on death row convicted of rape and murder, Kirk Bloodsworth is out. Released because even after all that time, a test proved that DNA in his sperm did not match DNA found in semen on the victim's underwear.
The system didn't work. My attorney worked for me. He's the one that pushed for the DNA test.
Since 1988, DNA tests at the FBI crime lab have excluded suspects in about 2,000 cases.
And there may well be thousands of people there who, if the evidence is available and DNA testing can be performed, will be able to prove their innocence.
In West Virginia, police lab specialist Fred Zane got caught. DNA testing showed he'd systematically misreported and fabricated evidence. In one case, the state awarded Glenn Woodall $1 million when new DNA tests proved him innocent of rape charges for which he'd been jailed. As a result, 164 West Virginia prisoners have asked that evidence in their cases be re-examined, and hundreds of Texas cases are now in doubt because of Fred Zane. 22 states have enacted laws permitting the collection of DNA from convicted felons. But because DNA also can reveal a lot about a person's health, some oppose storing it and worry how it might be used.
Our concerns really lie with the possibility of the Federal Bureau of Investigation and other criminal justice operations having access to a range of information, personal information that is really outside of the realm of criminal investigations.
So, as the fight against crime is revolutionized in the lab, for criminals, wiping away fingerprints is no longer enough. Still, some are concerned that the price of more safety could be the loss of some privacy. Bob Kerr, NBC News, Washington.
In Cambridge, Massachusetts, where the budding scientists at MIT are famous for their pranks, a real beauty this year, 150 feet up, a campus police car, or the shell of one, complete with emergency lights, dummy occupant, and donuts. No word on who did it or how. What goes up, of course, must come down, and the car was removed late today. On Wall Street today, the Dow dropped sharply more than 40 points in moderate trading. When we come back, what's a Texas sheriff to do when he can't afford to enforce the new gun law?
Talking now with Margot, who says that she will not freeze with Gladlock zipper bags.
No, I like my zipper bags.
Well, we sent a remote crew out to your house, Margot, where your husband, Jerry, is about to replace the new throw pillows on your lovely sofa with either your bag full of chili or the Gladlock bag full of chili. Of course, only Gladlock has the yellow and blue make green seal, so you know it's closed. Your bag doesn't have a green seal.
Use the Gladlock,
Mark, I
Jerry.
can't hear you.
The Gladlock.
There's something wrong. I can't hear what she's saying.
Use the Gladlock.
Go away. Be careful. I only hear...
When it really counts, only Gladlock has the yellow and blue make green seal.
taste of new bullseye salsa and honey mustard.
You can get more calcium from one bowl of whole grain total than you can get from all the cornflakes in this 12-ounce box, or in 5 boxes, or in 10 boxes. Total, the only leading cereal that's an excellent source of calcium, or in 20 boxes.
So, where's the boss today?
Picked up his new car.
What'd he get? The BMW? The Lexus?
Neither. He got the Bonneville.
Really?
Said it had anti-lock brakes, leather, dual airbags. Said with all that and the way it drives, he couldn't see spending 10 to 20 grand more.
He likes bargains.
He likes cars.
To get your free Bonneville video information kit, call 1-800-94-BEST-BUY now.
It's never fun to eat and run, to rush and eat too fast, cause you know it's gonna catch up with you at last.
For acid indigestion or heartburn with headache, nothing's faster than Alka-Seltzer.
Get yourself some Alka-Seltzer and you'll feel better fast.
Tomorrow and Today, we'll look to the prospect of televised execution.
Also, actress Alfre Woodard and the magic of David Copperfield. So join us tomorrow.
And see what a difference today makes.
In the small East Texas town of Deweyville today, a gunman walked into a post office and wounded the postmaster with 3 shots during an attempted holdup. When the suspect surrendered, he turned over 3 handguns, which is not such a large arsenal for a Texan. Tonight, NBC's Jim Cummins is on the other side of the state, where the new Brady Law on gun control is not very popular with the sheriff.
Val Verde County, deep in the heart of West Texas, has about 55,000 people, more than 100,000 guns, and a sheriff who says he doesn't have the time or money to enforce the Brady Law.
How can I make a budget up next year what are they going to put on our back? And we have to operate in the black. We can't print more money.
Sheriff J.R. Coog is one of 5 sheriffs from Texas, Arizona, Montana, Louisiana, and Mississippi who have filed lawsuits seeking to overturn the Brady Law, which requires a 5-day waiting period and background checks for people who want to buy handguns. The National Rifle Association has hired lawyer Stephen Halbrook to represent the dissenting sheriffs.
They're not federal employees. They're not required constitutionally to obey federal commands.
Supporters of the Brady Law disagree.
When you have sheriffs saying, we're not going to obey the law, that's wrong. They can go to court if they wish. They have the legal right to do that, but they have the legal obligation to enforce the law.
Sheriff Coog says federal prosecutors told him the Brady Law does not include criminal sanctions against local police officials who refuse to conduct background checks on gun buyers. But Sheriff Coog doesn't trust federal prosecutors. So, the sheriff, who has only 8 deputies to patrol more than 3,000 square miles, has begrudgingly done 6 background checks for gun buyers, 1 on himself. All passed.
We don't have a gun problem here. You could take our last murder in the county, the guy was beat to death or robbed.
The Brady Law will continue to be enforced in most places while it's being challenged in court, but J.R. Coog and the other sheriffs who are challenging it are not inclined to spend much time or money doing background checks on gun buyers in the meantime. Jim Cummins, NBC News, Del Rio, Texas.
That's Nightly News for this Monday night. I'm Tom Brokaw. I'll see you back here tomorrow night.
Healthcare costs. How do you cut them? America Close Up found a solution that's delivering millions in savings and giving special care to thousands. Get close, get answers on NBC Nightly News tomorrow.
Tonight on The Fresh Prince, the father who walked out 14 years ago returns,
You don't remember me.
reuniting one family
You're my son. Now look.
and tearing another apart.
I've been waiting for this for a long time. Come tomorrow, I'm out of here.
Oh, yeah, I don't think so.
You're not my father.
Ben Vereen guest stars in a powerful all-new Fresh Prince, NBC tonight. Don't miss it.